to IBIS Weather. This is Sarah. This is the update for September 18th, 2025. And we are here to give an update on Tropical Storm Gabrielle and everything else going on in the tropics, mainly in the Atlantic, but also a little bit in the Pacific. So we'll go ahead and get the Pacific out of the way. So the area that was the wave that had a high chance of 90% for the next 7 days yesterday has gone down to 80%. So it's 80% for 48 hours in the next 7 days. It does look like it has shrunk down the area of interest, the hatched area, so it could be becoming better consolidated. We'll look at in the winds later on, a little while later in this video, or not. But it looks like it won't be around forever or for much longer, so we'll see what happens tomorrow. Of course, let's talk about the Atlantic. As you know, everything that changes super quick and very fast with anything related to tropics, and we are still technically in the peak, even though we are doing our slow decline away from it now. Yesterday, we did have two waves behind Tropical Storm Gabrielle. Today, that has gone down to just one, the one that is coming off the coast of Africa in the next few days. The other one has been encountered with some dry air and has petered itself out. So we should not see that unless it decides to try to regenerate as it moves more west. But it is surrounded by dry air, which is also the reason why Gabrielle is not doing so hot today. As I mentioned yesterday, she is being sheared and encountering a lot of dry air that is kind of choking her system and making her have a little bit of a funky appearance along the way. So we'll go ahead and dive right into that next. Okay, so this is her satellite image. She's actually looking a little bit better, funny enough now. Earlier today, she really sort of just had what they call a naked swirl, which is basically just means that she had no convection firing off in her sensor, where the eye feature will be or would be. So she was mostly just having convection sheared off to the northeast and a little bit to the southeast. But she definitely still has some a little bit to the west. It does look like she's starting to fire up a little bit better, which is interesting. So maybe she's becoming a little better consolidated. Again, we'll get a closer look at her wins coming next, and how she looks like in that. For her cone, there was a lot of talk. Oh, is Bermuda going to be impacted? Is Bermuda going to not be impacted? Earlier this morning, some people were saying Bermuda was no longer in the cone, but when I looked at it this morning, it still was in the cone, and it's still right now, right outside the cone right now by the looks of it. She's still a very wide system for a tropical storm that has, stayed out pretty far east and more in the central Atlantic. She's kind of funky shaped. She's not completely, perfect circle, which again, as you saw in her satellite image, does look like she is still expected to stay a storm until tropical storm until Sunday afternoon when she'll become a hurricane, and it looks like she'll stay a hurricane at least until Tuesday afternoon. Um, and of course, it does look like that her center might get close to Bermuda. Will it change between now and then? Probably, most likely it will. But right now, that is where they're thinking she's going to go. So again, looks like land should be spared mostly from her, which is good news. She's currently moving west-northwest at 13 miles per hour. Max sustained winds is still 50 miles per hour, though there has been some talk about fluctuation as she is struggling a little bit. But it does look like she's starting to, fire up some convection, so we might see her pull her self together a little bit more and maintain some intensity or even build upon it a little bit. So we'll wait and see how that goes. Rip Currents, obviously. So, yesterday she was on the edge. We do see her now in the image. Again, pretty much the same as it's been. Nothing super big or major. Still too close, or still too far away to have actual rip current impacts from her. We'll have to get closer and wait to see what happens as she makes her closest approach to the East Coast. Um, Now, again, she's not anywhere near any land, so there is no key messages. So I thought we'd look at a little bit of her forecast discussion here a little bit. This is from the 5 p.m. update that they've done. Again, saying she's fighting off the vertical wind shear and dry air, but she is starting to get a little bit better in her convection, which the satellite presentation showed us. Conditions expected to remain hostile for another day or so, so she'll likely stay current intensity or weaken. At the 12Z guidance, they do think the wind shear will relax, which would be, I guess, good news for Gabrielle, and thinking that she'll get more moist air around her too, which should help her strengthen as well. Saying that the GFS model is starting to kind of tune more in line with what the Euro has been showing. So they're saying that the nodal, they are thinking that, the ceiling for her is definitely possible for a higher intensity going forward. So we'll have to kind of wait and see. Like I said, moving west northwest. So she's maintaining this track will have been toward the northwest over the next few days, as she is being steered by a subtropical ridge over the central Atlantic, i.e., the Bermuda High that we talk about quite a bit. Um, so yeah, and they're saying there's some speed differences between different models. So we'll have to wait and see what she does in terms of speed going forward. As for the model guidance, this is the Euro, so we do definitely see a tight cluster. It does definitely look like Bermuda she'll be to the east. The center of her will be to the east of Bermuda, which is good news. Does that mean that they might not get some kind of wind or rain? It's possible, as we do see she is relatively large size for her wind field, so we'll have to see if that grows as she gets closer or not. We'll have to kind of wait and see. But it does look like right now the Euro is thinking, has quite good confidence that she'll maintain herself away from land, which is a good thing. And it looks like the GFS, or the American model, is also thinking that. It does look like the Summit thinks she might go a little bit closer to Bermuda. Time will tell, but again, pretty good consensus here, even for the GFS. They typically don't have that narrow of a cluster, believe it or not. It's typically much wider. We do see a few outliers going further west, but still keeping her well away from land, which would be a good thing. Let's go ahead and talk about the dry air. So, as you can see, this is where she is. So again, kind of strange. A little bit of like a backward C look, a little bit of a shrimp or a comma. We do see some convection firing up over here. The oranges and yellows are dry air. So she's definitely got it around her. If you compare it to the wave that is going to work its way off the coast of Africa, that's definitely more of a moist environment. Will it stay that way for that wave? Time will tell. We just have to kind of wait and see. We still see quite a bit of moisture over there by the Leeward Islands and Windward Islands and Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic as well. And then, of course, we do see quite a bit of moisture over there heading off the southeast coast of Florida. And we do see some still over there in the Central America area as well. Speaking of that, I do want to show, if you saw my video yesterday, did have a little bit more impressive convection and cluster of storms. You would see it, still growing and maintaining it. There's still a juicy atmosphere over there. So we will have to wait and see if something does try to form over there or possibly even closer to Florida. Just kind of seeing what it looks like on this side. As you can see, so time will tell. We do see some storms over here on the western side of the Gulf as we're closer to Mexico, so we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. But again, none of those three areas are actually marked by the National Hurricane Center, so it doesn't seem like they think that anything will form from it, but time will tell on that. And then for the direction of the wind, so it does look like Gabrielle has gotten a little bit better. She's not as elongated as she was. She's definitely got more of a ferocious close circulation, which is what she'd want. Probably the reason why she is actually improving a little bit. The system that was over there by um, the Mid Atlantic looks like that has dissipated, completely gone. There is the wave that we see over there by Mexico as well. Nothing down there in Central America or Yucatan or the Gulf. And if we go over here, again, we saw yesterday there was a very weak circulation over here. We don't see anything like that. And we do see, looks like some circulation trying to maybe pull itself together, kind of on the coast of Africa, a little bit off the coast of that. So we'll have to monitor that as that continues to come out. Did see some dry air kind of over here, back over here. So kind of in this region. So we'll have to kind of monitor and see what happens with that. But right now, that is least of our worries. So our main focus right now is obviously Tropical Storm Gabrielle. It's just interesting to see her looking like she's improving some. She may surprise us all. She could still completely kind of weaken or peter out. That's possible as well. Time will tell what she does, but we'll have to wait and see. I know yesterday I was mentioning that some of the computer models were hinting at a possible hurricane over there in the Gulf going across over into Florida and the southeast. Euro model or the current Euro one, which was at the 12 p.m. Run, did not show that this time. The GFS has sort of hinted at it, sort of not hinted at it. Doesn't seem too sure, so we'll have to wait and see what happens with that one as well. And then the Canadian also has hinted at it again, which right now isn't, so that's why I'm not showing anything. But it's still worth noting that this is definitely a reason why we do want to watch this area. Typically around this time of year, that's where they more or less form over there in the Central American gyre area. Um, and in the Gulf, they do form closer to the land, much like they do earlier in the season, closer to the Americas. So as we continue to go decline from the peak of the hurricane season, we'll see those less waves coming off Africa and more things possibly trying to form closer. We do see, like I mentioned, quite the let's see here. Yes, quite the juicy atmosphere over here. So we could see something trying to form. Again, we don't have a deadline. Could something form by the end of next week? It's possible. The model's kind of on it, off it kind of thing, not fully deciding. Of course, nothing has formed, so can't really track anything. So we'll have to wait and see what the models trend, but don't be surprised if before long we do have something over here. Just a matter of time, I think, with the atmosphere and time of year we're entering. As I always say, typically we do see seasons coming in pairs. Last year, that is the hot bed area for storms, and with La Nina coming, thinking that we're going to kind of switch to a La Nina, meaning the shear in the Gulf in Central America. Gyre area will lessen, and with that lessening in the coming weeks, definitely the atmosphere will be more primed and ready to start producing something. So time will tell about what happens with that in the coming days. So right now, we're just watching Tropical Storm Gabrielle. It looks like she is doing a little bit better compared to earlier today. Will she maintain that? Will she weaken? Will she dissipate? Any of that's on the table. The season has definitely thus far been an interesting one with some issues that I don't think people expected. If you look at what they were predicting for the season ahead of time from all the professionals and experts. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. But I do think, there's still time. We still have weeks ahead of us until, the end of November, literally. Which obviously at that time is less likely to have anything, but we still have rest of September and then of course all of October to go through as well. And with the shear settling down a little bit over there in the Gulf and Central America area, that could definitely become a prime spot. Sea surface temperatures are certainly there for it to happen. And we'll see what happens with Gabrielle and any waves that come off behind her. Right now, still kind of a wait and see approach. Nothing super set, no land immediately threatened, which is a good news. But the season's not over yet. So please feel free to like, share, and comment. You can follow me on Facebook for a little bit more frequent updates, and I will be back tomorrow with another update as we continue to track the journey of Gabrielle and see what happens with the wave behind her. Until then, thank you guys.